What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Swift video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at navigation in SwiftUI apps. So this has been something that a lot of you have asked for, and it's a fairly important topic as navigation is in general. So here's the app we're going to be putting together and talking about. So we open up on this home screen. We've got this nice home icon and a button, and we can tap on it and go to this next screen. And the way I actually set it up is we can continue, and every time it actually pushes on another screen for the bell for notifications, we can swipe back as you would expect the user to be able to do. And of course, we're changing the title between the screens. We can tap back here. Now we'll take a look at how to set this up, some of the good practices around it, and if you're coming from the land of UI kit with navigation controllers, how to really do that mental shift to get to the place where you can build this stuff. So that said, make sure you absolutely destroy that YouTube like button down below. Helps out with the algorithm, helps me make more videos for all of you. Get Xcode ready, get excited. If you got 2 seconds, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's get into some SwiftUI navigation. All right, so we're gonna get started by opening up Xcode and creating a new project here. We're gonna stick with the app template under the iOS tab. And let's go ahead and give this a name of navigation SwiftUI. Make sure your language is Swift and lifecycle, as well as interface are both SwiftUI, of course. Go ahead and hit that continue button. We'll toss it onto our desktop. And once Xcode decides to stop being slow, we're gonna expand our window, close this, and hit resume in the canvas over here to get our preview. Sometimes the preview is a little slow, so be patient with it. Looks like there it is. Awesome. Let's collapse this a little bit to give ourselves a little more room to work. And we're going to bump up the font size as well. So cool, let's talk about some navigation views. So if you're familiar with UI kit, or even if you're not, generally, one screen can be pushed on top of another, and that each screen will basically be driven by a navigation controller. That whole concept is basically thrown out the window with SwiftUI. Rather, in SwiftUI, you push views inside a navigation view. So here we've got this text here that the template gave us. We're going to get rid of it, and we're going to get straight away into it. So let's say we wanted to show a screen with a title and some content in it. We would basically use the component for navigation view, and inside of here, you would have whatever view you want. So I'm going to create a VStack. I'm going to create a image in here with a system name of house. Let's give it some modifiers so it doesn't look as vanilla as it currently does. So we're going to say resizable. We're also going to give it a frame with a width and height of 200, just like that. And let's see what else you want to do. Let's also give it an aspect ratio of fit so it doesn't get distorted weirdly. And we'll give it some padding just like that. So we've got our house here, but where's our navigation title? Well, we would need to actually use a modifier called, you guessed it, navigation title. And that's how we can apply one. So here I'm just going to call this home. And you'll say we get the navigation title right up here. So one important thing to call out is the navigation title is on the VStack, which is inside of the navigation view. And you don't actually add the title on the navigation view, which is slightly different from how UI kit handled it if you're familiar with it. The premise here is basically this is the title for the actual primary view inside the navigation view, and you'll see why momentarily once we start pushing on new views onto our screen. So cool, we've got this image here. Let's go ahead and add a text right below it, aka a label. So I'm going to call it first screen here. And let me give it a font so it looks a little nicer. So here we're going to say system. We want system font. Let's find the one with the weight. So here we're going to say the size is, let's do 30. The weight we'll say is light. And here we can go ahead and let's go with default. All right, and then let me see. Let's go ahead and add some padding. The next question that comes up is, how on earth do we navigate to other views? Well, generally you want the user to tap something, aka a button, and you want it to link them elsewhere. So that brings us to the next component, which is called a navigation link. And if you open up the parenthesis, the initializer, there's a couple different options in here. You want to stick with the one with a destination and label. So the destination is essentially where you want to navigate to. you'll see it actually just fills out a vanilla view in here for text. So I'm just going to stick with that. I will come back to this in a moment. And the label actually is what the user will tap. So let's just go ahead and create it as a text. And we're going to call it continue. Now the first thing you'll notice here in the preview is that it looks like a link. Not the nicest looking thing. So let's go ahead and add some modifiers and style this up to make it look more like a button. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do is give it a frame with a width and a height. We're going to go with 200, 50, and centered. These numbers are kind of just made up for the width and height. Go with whatever you think looks nice. We're going to stick with the background color of, let's go with pink. And let's see, the next thing we want to go ahead and do in here is, let me give it a foreground color of white. Let's also give it some nice rounded corners with some corner radius. And I don't know about you guys, but that's looking a lot nicer to me. So before we actually go back to this destination thing, let's just hit this little run button here to get our live preview. When we tap on it, look what happens there. We actually do already push another screen, albeit it's very simple, right? We just have some text and no title. And we can tap this back button and come back here, and we can even swipe back as you would expect. If I can grab that corner right there, just like that. So very simple, but it gets the job done of what you're kind of looking for. So what is this destination thing? So this destination thing, as the name implies, and as you can probably tell by looking here, is basically where you want the link to navigate the user to. So you can think of this as kind of the controller you want to push on, even though it's not really that. It's basically the view that you want to push on. It'll be the primary view on your device. So a little different from how UIKit and navigation controllers handled it if you're coming from that land. But if you're not, then just think of it as a view that you're pushing onto the screen. So let's push a more complex view on the screen. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and start refactoring these views out into their own views, so it's not as messy. And the first one we're going to do here is this continue thing that we've styled up, because at the end of the day, this is kind of like a continue button, right? So we're going to cut it. We're going to call this continue button, just like that. I'm going to come down here and create a continue button. It's going to inherit from a view, and we're going to have a body in here, which will be in some view, and we're just going to toss that into the body of that view builder, just like that. If your canvas decides to play tricks on you like mine is doing, hit try again, and it should come back. If it doesn't, once again, it's your canvas being just finicky. You just gotta bear with it sometimes, but we've basically managed to pull our continue button out. Let's try again one more time, and there it is. The next thing we wanna do is let's pull out this whole thing here. This VStack inside of our navigation view. We could actually pull out this entire navigation view itself, but you'll actually see a problem. Let me demonstrate that problem before we do that. So let's say we want to push on another screen. So I'm going to call this second screen, and I'm going to take this whole, let me just copy this whole content view actually. We're going to copy, and we're going to paste, and we're going to call this second screen. And let's change some stuff in here. So the image will become a bell. The text will become second screen. And let's see, this will become notifications for the title. Let me go ahead and hit try again. Hopefully our canvas happy here. We should not have any errors. Of course, we're not going to actually copy and paste like this, but let's go ahead and hit that live preview. And let's hit this. Let's see what happens. All right, so something weird just happened. If you notice, we've got our title now, but why the heck is it pushed down? It should be like kind of right there, right? So what's actually going on here is if you take a look at the code we've written, we've got a navigation view, right? And we got a link in here, and we're saying push on second screen. But second screen itself has a navigation view inside of it. So what you're getting here on this screen is a navigation view inside of a navigation view. And that's not what we want, of course. So the way you solve this is really simple, but I wanted to illustrate that one navigation view manages other views, not other navigation views. So let's get rid of, in the second screen, that root level navigation view, as well as that. I'm going to highlight all this and do a Control I to fix the indentation. And you'll notice when we tap on this now it looks as expected. So looking much better. Let's stop this live preview. And let's take a look at how we can make totally different screens. Well, we've got this other view here, so we could just do it here. But let's say we wanted this, this continue button to be a little more reusable. One thing we can do in here is we can give this continue button a color property, and that color, can be passed in by the color, and that's how we can set a dynamic color here. So here it's going to start complaining because I haven't passed in a color. So I'm going to say green right there. Let's go up to the content primary view, and here we're going to say the color is pink. And let's see what else we want to do. In theory, we could actually take out this whole view right here, this V stack with the title, and we could call this a screen, just like that. It's going to be a view. You can say var body, which is a sum view. Paste that on in, and now if you think about it, we just want to change the image and the first screen text here. So here what we can do is take in three properties. So the first one will be a title for the screen. Next one will be the actual text here, which is a string. And the last one will be the image name, which is also nothing more than just the string. That'll be image name. This one will be the text. And then this final one here will be the title. All right, and then this is going to start giving me errors because we need to pass those guys in, just like that. So the title, once again, home. The text is going to be first screen. And then this one is going to be house. And we're going to hit resume over here since we just changed a bunch of stuff and our canvas is not happy with us. And hopefully, if we come back here, give it a second to load. All right, we're on home. Let's hit this live preview. Everything should look identical. And we tap on this, we get the second screen here. Tap on this, we're going to keep getting it over and over. And on the second screen, what we could actually do is change the actual destination here. Or what you could do is instead of passing this whole thing in like this, what you could just pass in here is a new screen, since we abstracted it out. And once again, it takes all these parameters. So we'll say second. This one will be second screen, and this one will be let's say bell. And we can actually, I think, get rid of this. We're not using this anymore. Just like that. Continue button still looking good. We still need that. And I think that should be good. So let's go ahead and let me stop this live preview, hit resume. Sometimes I feel like this canvas needs you to hit resume more times than you would have to hit run in a simulator. So questionable how useful it is. But anyways, I digress. Let's go ahead and run it and hit this. And you see we push on our second screen. We've got our title up here. So that's a quick overview of how navigation works in SwiftUI. It's really, really simple. The takeaways are you've got a root navigation view, and you're using navigation links to push on different component views. And it's wise to have these like properties that you can pass into the view. That way you don't have to redundantly, create copy and pasted views like we did earlier. You can just pass in, the data. Arguably, you might want to have this in a view model or a model for proper architectural practices. But that's about it. There you have it. Not that scary. A lot of people think, it's a lot scarier in SwiftUI with how you set up your actual screens and navigation. I'm going to have a bunch of more SwiftUI videos coming since they seem like they're something that a lot of you are interested in. So we're going to talk about, tab bars and alerts, and leave a comment down below what components you want to see, or if you just want to see something else, maybe in UI Kit or Objective-C. I was debating if I wanted to do a Mac app series once I got a little more into SwiftUI on this channel, because in fact, you could run all of this in a Mac app, which is pretty darn cool. The one other thing I'll call out is I haven't been using SwiftUI that much lately, but what I really like also here in the canvas is I can select this and change all my properties right in here. So let's say I wanted to go ahead and take a look at this in dark mode. I can go ahead and change this directly right here to dark, and it's still looking pretty darn nice. You could also change it in the preview, of course, for those of you that are aware of that. But this way you can just do it real time instead of having a bunch of previews. So that's enough of me rambling. If you haven't hit the like button already, make sure to do so. It helps out the videos, keeps me going, keeps me motivated, lets me know what you guys like and don't. Comment down below for any video suggestions for the YouTube algorithm. Love talking to you guys. And finally, most importantly, hit subscribe to grow this channel together. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.